Hey YouTube, how's your week going? Hopefully it's going great. It's time for another video. This video we're going to call The Rock is Not Like Our Rock, okay? And the Bible talks about the rock a lot. And when it's talking about the rock, it's talking about something that's permanent, something that doesn't change, something that's solid, a foundation. And it very many times correlates the rock to God or Jesus Christ, the foundation we should be built upon. In fact, Jesus himself talked about building upon the rock and the importance of it. It's in Matthew 7, verses 24 through 27. Jesus says this, "Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rains descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on the house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock." In verse 26, it says, "But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rains descended, the flood came, the winds blew, and the beat on the house, and it fell, and great was its fall." See, Jesus is saying here there's two things. One, it matters what you're built upon. It matters your foundation. But how do you know what your foundation is? Well, he says right here, if you listen to my words and do them, it's like you're built upon the rock. You're built on a solid foundation. But if you listen to my words and do not do them, it's like you're built on the sand. You're built on the beach. Your life's going to fall apart. It's going to fall, and great will be its fall, right? You see, many people are Christians, right? Or say they're Christians. And they say, well, by faith I'm saved, so I can live my life however I want. I don't got to follow this book. I ain't got to follow what Jesus says. I can do whatever I want because he's already forgiven me for that. And by faith, we are saved. But how do you know, right? Do you do what God says? Do you follow his word? Do you put your faith and trust in him? You see, it matters. If you put your faith and trust in him, nobody can take him away from you, right? Your house can't fall because it's built on a firm foundation. But if you're built upon what the world says is important, maybe money or status or other people, I guarantee you they're going to fail you one day. And your life will fall apart, and great will be its fall, right? It matters what you're built upon. You know, God talked to Moses before, the children of Israel entered the promised land, right? And God told Moses, you're going to die here soon. You're not entering the promised land. But they are. And there's other people that live there, right? And they need to understand they need to be built on the correct rock, on the solid foundation, right? So I'm going to give you a song to have them memorize. So when these trials come or these things happen to them, they'll understand why. They'll know why, and they'll know how to come back to me, right? They'll know that they need to be built on the correct foundation. But in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 31, it says this, "For their rock is not like our rock." Okay? Even our enemies themselves being judges. So what he's saying here is their rock, the foundation that these people in this land are built upon, is not like our rock, our foundation, Jesus Christ, God. It's not the same, right? Even those who are against us can see this. Even those who are against us know this, right? That they're built upon something else, right? When you're saved, when you're a Christian, your life should show it. It should be seen. People should know that, right? He's saying you're going to go in this land, but you need to remember that what they're built upon is not solid. It's not, their rock is not our rock, meaning Jesus Christ. They might have gods, but they're not God. They're false gods, right? In fact, in the song, he talks about them following gods that were not gods, or gods that they did not know, gods that they made, right? And saying you're following them instead of the real and true God, right? Their rock is not our rock. When it comes to your life, what are you built upon? What matters in your life? What is important to you? Because see, the things of this world says important, the things where this world says, man, if you just have enough money, you'll be happy. If you just have this status, you'll be happy. If you just have this relationship, you'll be happy. That's their rock that they're building upon. But it's going to fall. It's going to fail. Their house is going to crumble. They're going to have depression. They're going to have things that they can't control, and it's going to be overwhelming to them because they're not built upon the rock. And that's not to say that people that have put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ can't be blinded. You know, the apostles were in a boat one time, and there was winds and waves, and they thought, who's going to save us? We're going to die. And then Jesus came, right? And he calls Peter out of the boat and says, walk on the water with me, Peter. And Peter gets out of the boat and he starts walking on the water, but then he looks at the things around him and they become overwhelming to him and he starts to sink. We got to keep our eyes on Jesus. We got to remember that their rock is not our rock. The things that the world builds their life upon is not what we build our life upon. We build our life upon Jesus Christ. It's not about me being happy. It's about what God wants me to do. What God would have me to say, how God would have me to love somebody that's so mean to me or so against me or my enemy, to give them bread when they're hungry and drink when they're thirsty, right? Their rock is not our rock. It should be noticeably different. Noticeably different how you live your life from the world. Because your rock, Jesus Christ, is not what the world is built upon. It goes against it. Just remember that. Build your house upon the rock, the firm foundation, Jesus Christ, and will not fail. Nobody can take him away from you. The winds come, he's still going to be there. But if you're built upon other people, upon money, upon status, let's say you lose that job, what happens? Let's say you lose that position, what happens? Let's say you're made to be something you're not or really are. The truth comes out and nobody wants to talk to you no more. What happens? Let's say that relationship ends because either you're not happy or they're not happy, or you fell out of love or they fell out of love. What happens, right? What happens to your life? The winds came and blew, and the rains fell, and your house fell. And great was it fall. Build your house upon the rock, the true rock. When we read this verse that Moses said, he says, their rock, a small r, a false god, false faith, and something that will not last, is not like our rock, capital R, meaning Jesus Christ, God. Build your house upon the rock, because the world's rock is not like the rock of salvation. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.